All right, we are all tied up in the NBA Finals, 2-2 after an exciting blowout win by the Warriors last night on the road in Cleveland. We got Jordan on the phone to talk to us about Game 5 on Sunday night at Oracle. How's it going, Jordan?
Hey, doing well, Matt. Series is tied, so I guess both teams have now won on their home court. I guess the big question is whether or not Cleveland can bounce back after these couple days off.
Well, that is the big question. And I guess, first off, we're going to start off with the books don't seem to think so. We're looking at the Warriors -8.5 favorites now, back all the way back up to where they started off with in the beginning of the series. I don't know. I think that's a bit of a jump, don't you?
Yeah, it initially kind of seems like it's just slightly overvaluing the Warriors here, but I'm not sure it's too much more than maybe a point and a half too much. We saw, I think, what were they, 5.5, 6.5 point favorites in the first game at home. So this is just a little bit higher than that. I think the blowout is fresh in everyone's mind, so the books are kind of maybe trying to take advantage of that. But we have seen a couple of we have seen most of the books after opening at 8.5 drop down to 8 even. That could go down another half point or so, I think, before before game on Sunday night. That 2 days rest, I think, is going to be big for the Cavs, but I'm afraid it's only going to be big for LeBron James, and the rest of the Cavs might not respond as well on the road in a situation like that, though. I think that's probably what this Game 5 boils down to ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in my opinion, we saw some things that I'd been waiting to see in this series. Finally saw Curry come up a little bit, other than Game 1, obviously. But we saw, Andre Iguodala play a lot in this game. Actually, he started for the first time. And like we talked about the other day, David Lee getting some solid minutes, both of them contributing in a big, big way. Iguodala scored 20, putting up, 6 or 8 rebounds. What do you see with his contribution, and how does that affect the way that this series is going to move forward?
I mean, Andre Iguodala has stepped into the DeLorean in this series. He's pretty much gone back to when he led the league in minutes that one year. I can't remember. I think it was 2008. But, yeah, he's been an absolute beast on both ends of the floor for the Golden State Warriors. He's really been the X factor. I don't know if I'm quite yet to put him into Finals MVP conversation, but a couple more performances like that with how consistent he's been. I mean, he has to at least be discussed. Because he's been absolutely, I think, the Warriors' most important player throughout this series. Because not only has he done a phenomenal job on LeBron James, but he's, like you said, he's been scoring, not really efficiently, but consistently, and that's really all they need when, especially the Cavs have the defenders like Matthew Dellavedova and Iman Shumpert giving Klay Thompson and Steph Curry so much trouble. They need that third guy. And Draymond Green, up until Game 4, really hadn't had it offensively either. He kind of found the stroke offensively in Game 4 as well, which I think him and Iguodala were, two of the biggest X factors in that series, along other than the stars on Golden State. So, Iguodala is going to continue to play, I think super minutes in this series and do exactly what they need him to do. In regards to David Lee, he's really been, I think, a cog for this team that they really haven't had to unleash up until now. But veteran guy giving them some rebounding and some passing, and even though he does not much of a defender, he can make some shots when they need him to, and when he's open, and that's exactly what they've been having him to do. So, and I think that combined, it just shows that how deep this Warriors team is playing a huge factor when you look at how kind of tired and fatigued the Cleveland Cavaliers seem up until this point. So, the deeper this series goes, I think you're going to see those guys become more and more of a factor. And switching up the starting lineup, like you mentioned, I think one of the best moves for this team they could have done. It really, I think, really helped them defensively towards the end of the game, too.
Absolutely. And even on the offense here, keeping Bogut on the bench. I think he only played 3 minutes, which is actually kind of surprising, but whatever. It seemed to work out for them. But having Iguodala and Lee on the court like that, they killed the Cavs on fast break points. They outscored them 11-2 on the break. Now, obviously, LeBron was tired. He said that he gassed himself out in the third, in the fourth. I mean, they got these days off, but I don't know. I see that being a very lingering problem with him.
Yeah, I think so too. Even like I said, I think earlier, the 2 days off I think is going to help LeBron. I don't know if it's going to help the rest of the Cavs. We saw Matthew Dellavedova absolutely fall apart. He hit 2 threes like right at the beginning of the second half, and you think, okay, Cleveland's making their run. This is going to be a tight game down the stretch. He missed the rest of his shots down the stretch. LeBron really didn't have it all game, but it was kind of exemplified in the second, third, and fourth quarters where he started off well in the first quarter and then kind of just collapsed in the second, third, and fourth. I think he was maybe like 3 for 15 the rest of the game after the first quarter. So that is something that is going to probably linger for this team, even though they do get the extra travel day here to have off and rest in the game, not until Sunday night. But like we just mentioned, I mean, the Warriors are deep, and they can throw fresh bodies at you. I mean, Sean Livingston, another guy we haven't even talked about yet, he played fantastic. Really an unsung hero for this team on both ends of the court. He can pass the ball. He keeps this offense moving, and he plays an outstanding defense too. And they need him to come in and give him some fresh legs. So, the depth of this Golden State Warriors is just showing its head right now. And I don't know if I'm ready to lay the points here with him in game number 5, because I think that LeBron James is going to come out with another one of those all-time performances. I mean, let's be honest, he did not play well in game 4, whereas he played legendary status in games 1, 2, and 3. I think that extra day off really going to bring out the legend in LeBron, but I'm afraid it might not be enough, even if he does score 40, 45 points. I think the rest of this team is pretty gassed compared to the rest of the Golden State Warriors, even though Golden State really only played 7 guys too in game number 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Dellavedova, not playing as well as he had been playing, which doesn't surprise me at all because, truthfully, I don't think he's a very good player. I mean, he's an NBA quality player, but he's below average for the NBA squads. What did surprise me, though, was Smith and Shumpert playing totally awful defense. They combined for 9 points together in a full game. What did those guys? What happened to them?
I mean, I'm not ready to trash Delly just yet. I think he's got a lot of staying power in this league. Is he a starting NBA point guard? No, but is he absolutely going to have a very long and productive NBA career because of the skill set he brings? I think yes. I mean, yeah, it's got the hype, but everybody who has a good game in the finals gets hype. There was that. I think him and Gary Neal and I believe it was somebody else. I can't remember. Oh, John Starks are the only players who weren't drafted to score 20 points in the NBA Finals. I mean, that's a select club, especially when you're talking about John Starks in there. And then Gary Neal had that one big game with the Spurs. But in regards to the Cavs guys, I think J.R. Smith is the X factor for this team and offensively. Shumpert, they really don't need him to score. They need him to knock down open shots, which he hasn't been doing. And I mentioned him in one of my articles as a guy whose his field goal percentage has like a trend line just straight downward ever since the first round of the playoffs. If you look at his numbers, at each series, every series his field goal percentage goes down. So I don't know if they're expecting too much out of him offensively, but I know they're expecting a lot out of J.R. Smith, and they're going to absolutely need more than 0 of 8 from three-point land from J.R. Smith in game number 5 if they have any chance of winning on the road. He has to be that second or third scoring option for this team behind LeBron and maybe, Dellavedova / Mozgov, whoever is kind of like, it was Mozgov in game number 4, it was Dellavedova in game number 3, who kind of was stepped up and was that second scorer. Obviously, it was not enough in game number 4, but they're going to need Smith to really, really rein it in. He was missing some easy shots. I think he went on a drought where he scored, I think, right at the end of the first quarter and then didn't score again until, early in the fourth quarter. Like he can't have that. They got to get more from him. So if he's playing well, I'm going to give the Cavs I think honestly, if J.R. Smith, if you're telling me J.R. Smith's going to score 20 points in game 5, I'll pick the Cavs +8 right now. But if that is by nowhere near a guarantee right now with J.R. Smith, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you brought up those 3 guys undrafted scoring 20 points. Mozgov also number 4 there, doing it last night. He had a great game. Damn. Now, like you said, your pick's +8 for the Cavs. You like that one?
I think for now, yeah. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think they're going to at least keep it within a couple possessions. I think 8 is just a little bit too much right now, but I think the 2 days off is really going to help. I'm expecting a huge game from LeBron James right now, so I think +8 is where I'm leaning towards right now. Currently, not a whole lot of confidence in that, but I do think this line's at least a point, maybe 1.5, 2 overvalued right now in favor of the Warriors.
Yeah, with the way this series is going, it's hard to be super confident about anything, but I think that's a pretty safe bet. It's a pretty steep line right now. I mean, like you said, it started off at 9. So I still like it at 8. You making any moves on the over/under at 195? I like the under still. I don't really see any of these games breaking out into super high scoring affairs.
I mean, I really want to bet the over. I thought I had the over on the last 2 games, and it ended up burning me because the Cavs absolutely fell apart in the fourth quarter. It's weird because the game into game 3, it looked like they scored 60 points in the fourth quarter. It looked like the over was going to carry over, and then in the first quarter of game number 4, offense was really hot. They both teams started out shooting the ball well, and then they'd all collapsed. In the second, if they can put a consistent 3 or 4 quarters of offense together, the over is going to be an absolutely fantastic play. But right now, I think I'm too off on it right now to really pick a side on it. I'm still leaning with the over just because I think that's it's going to happen one of these games where both of these teams put it together offensively. Will the 2 days rest be enough to do it? I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe check back with me here in a couple days.
No problem, Jordan. Well, listen, thanks for coming by and talking to us today.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to talk to you guys. Have a good one.
Yes, yes, indeed. And we'll catch up with you after Game 5. We'll catch up with all you guys after Game 5 for more NBA picks right here at sbrvideo.com.